Hey there, this is Mark from Teacharium. In one of our previous videos, we created a learning style inventory that asked the user a bunch of prompts and then showed a results display back to them at the end. And this radar chart is kind of what it looked like. I wasn't very happy with the radar chart, which is one of our built-in components for this. What I want to do is go create a custom component that we can then use instead of this. So first I will go into the widget library. From here, I'm going to create a new widget. I'm going to call it the learning gauge, and it's a visual component, so I'll create that widget. Now I'm going to go into the little mini vibe coding environment that Teacharium provides. That takes a few seconds to start up, so while it does, we'll talk about our prompt. I'm going to send this prompt into the vibe coding environment that tells it exactly what component I want it to create. So I tell it to create a new component. Let me add multiple items to it. Each item has two labels, two numeric expressions with a left and a right. And I go on to give some examples of what it should look like. So if I take all that and I paste it in here, it should go through and create a component that's something like what I want, and then we can iterate on that a few times. In this environment, the chat is on the left, obviously. The right shows a preview of my current component. There's also a code editor I can go into to manually edit the code, but we're going to stay away from there for now. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. So we have some meters. It goes from introverted to extroverted, analytical to creative. I can click on this and see the fields that I'd be able to edit in the lesson editor. And I can see here that I have gauge items with 2 items. And if I expand one of these, introverted is at 1 and extroverted is at 2. So yeah, that looks kind of like it's calculating what I expect. I don't like these text labels on it, so I'm going to get rid of all those. Don't show any numeric labels, but otherwise I think this is pretty close to what we want. All right, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and publish this widget, so the little publish button up here on the right. And once I've published the widget, I can go back into my lesson. Here's my learning inventory, go down into the results. I'm going to get rid of this radar chart by deleting it. I'm going to go into my lesson settings first, actually. And there's this widget availability section. Since this was a custom widget that we just created, we have to enable it for our lesson. So I'm just going to turn it on there for the learning gauge. So now if I go into my components, I can see that the learning gauge is sitting right here under general. I could have told it to put it into a different category in the vibe coding environment, but for now it'll just be here. I'm going to drag that in, and here's the widget that we created. It's got sample data in there, which we don't really want. So I'm going to go look at my variables and think about this for a minute. Go into my fields, here's my items. I guess I need 3 different items. The first one should go from collaborative. I'm going to use the collaborative variable for that. And the opposite of collaborative was independent. So we'll go there. We're going to use the independent variable. Good. And then I'm going to do this for all of the others in the same way. So explora, and that's the exploratory variable. And then structured was the opposite with the structured variable. And the last one is going to be, hands-on with the hands-on variable, and theoretical with that variable. All right, great. So now I think this is going to be set up to work for me. So let's go ahead and play the lesson and see what that does. Here we go. Start the lesson. I'm just going to quickly click through these. We don't have to read them all. All right, and look at that. So we from collaborative to independent, I'm there. From exploratory to structured, I'm way up at structured. And hands-on to theoretical, I was down there. There's actually a little debug panel here that I can open up, and I can see what the values of the variables are. So like collaborative was at a 1, and independent was at a 2. And yeah, that's about where that should be. So this is how you can create a custom widget and then use it within your lesson. And right now this was just kind of a visual component, but we could have had like a logic component that's calculating a value or maybe running some sort of simulation based off of inputs that the user gave us. It's really wild what you can do.